From Washington, D.C., next on Comcast Sportsnet. It's the 37th annual Capital Classic All-Star Game in Washington, D.C. Inside Bender Arena on the campus of American University, the Capital All-Stars get set to host the United States All-Stars. And welcome in alongside Chris Naki. I'm Brett Harrison. Chris, as you know, the locals, the Capital All-Stars, want to protect this house. They want to protect this home court.
Well, they have to come out fighting to do that. They have to answer to a lot of local friends and family, in the next couple of weeks. And the problem with it is that they have to deal with a plethora of talent on the other side. The Nationals come in here with a lot of good players this year, no exception.
A lot of tradition in this game. 1974, the first ever game, and over the years, from Michael Jordan, Moses Malone through to LeBron James, it has been incredible.
Well, the first one was the Moses Malone game. He just signed at Maryland. A lot of folks showed up at Capitol Center to see him, but look at that list of Hall of Famers. Those aren't just basketball players. Those are corporations and brand names.
And through the years, Chris, some of the names have changed, maybe even the styles, but the excellence has remained the same.
I would say the styles have definitely changed, but boy, you look at those names, and it's a who's who, and it's a reason why this game has become what it is, and just an awesome tradition.
Well, one tradition that always seems to be the same is that these games start with a point guard. We have a couple of great point guards set to take the floor in this game here tonight. A couple of kids that will play their college ball locally. Let's start with the U.S. All-Stars and Terrell Stogler.
Well, he's a lefty from Arizona, and this guy, he's coming across country to not only to play in this game, but to matriculate at Maryland. 29.2 points per game. Now, I guess that classifies you as a scoring point guard. He can do it in a lot of ways. Crafty around the basket, capable three-point shooter.
The Capital All-Stars hope to be led by this young man, Markell Starks. He's heading to Georgetown.
A little different package as a point guard. It's a little bigger than Stogler, a little stronger without the quicks, but boy, much is expected of this guy. He had a magnificent year at Georgetown Prep, and he will be expected to contribute from day one on that Georgetown campus.
And we expect it to be an up-and-down affair here at American University. The All-Stars are out, and maybe a little preview. We should see some high flying in this one. We'll be back with the opening tip right after this. Announcer for tonight's starting lineups.
He'll be attending the University of Maryland. Let's welcome number 21, Tyson Collard. This fall forward stands at 6'7". Attends the Campus School in North Carolina. He'll be attending Virginia Tech, wearing number 33, Jarrell Eddy. This 6'8" power forward attends St. Mark's School in Massachusetts. He will be attending Georgetown in the fall. Let's welcome number 34, Nick Libet. For the United States All-Stars.
I saw him play a lot.
Yeah.
Going over.
Forward, standing at 6'8", from Bishop Hoffman High School in New York, wearing number 23, he'll be attending Villanova, Javon Paxton. A forward at 6'6", from John Marshall High School in Virginia, he'll be attending Wake Forest. Let's welcome number 15, Travis McKay. Wearing number 30, a guard at 6'2", from United Faith Christian Academy, North Carolina. He will be attending Florida State. Number 30, Ian Miller. This is our second forward. Wearing number 13, and he'll be attending Aaron Akor Wilson. And now, a 6'1" guard from St. Anna High School in Arizona. He'll be attending Maryland University. Number 3, Terrell Stogler. The head coach of the United States All-Stars.
So the scene is set here at Bender Arena. The warm-ups are in the bag, and the players are ready to take the court.
You can almost hear the big guys begging the guards to get the rock up at some point in time during this game. This is a guard's dream.
These kids have been in town a couple of days. I would imagine over the course of those couple of days, Chris, that the negotiations have been taking place. We now have our ceremonial opening tip.
One of the really cool parts about this year's Classic is the involvement of the folks from Walter Reed Army Hospital, and it's just we had a great afternoon and evening over there yesterday, and all the kids, all the players from both teams showed scrimmage and all sorts of shenanigans over there.
It was a great scrimmage between the U.S. All-Stars and the military. The Walter Reed put together an all-star team of their own. You may be surprised. We'll see some footage later in the game, Chris, but you may be surprised just how competitive that game was.
But you know, those Army guys, they treasure their couple hours of basketball. As hard as they train and they work.
You know they'll come into the game conditioned.
No question.
You won't outwork a military team.
It's just a little tough to dunk in those boots.
And we'll step aside on the other side. The opening tip here from the 37th Annual Capital Classic All-Star Game. Washington, D.C. Bender Arena on the campus of American University, and it is time to tip it up. Chris, are you ready for some all-star competition?
Buckle the seatbelts. This is no need for a shot clock in a game like this.
The shot clock won't be needed, and it's the only game the commentators have to stretch out beforehand. It's going to be a lot like a tennis match, back and forth. And the opening tip-off goes to the homestanding Capital All-Stars. A long-range jumper put up by Tranham is no good.
Saw a lot of three-point shot attempts in the preliminary game. Guys came out jacking it from the get-go.
Have you noticed over the years, too, the range of some of these young men? The high school level continues.
Well, there you go. He was 2 feet short on that shot. But you know, as the line moved back 9 inches this year, you do find that some of these guys have a little bit of time, a little bit of struggles hitting that shot.
Taking a look at the starting lineup for the U.S. All-Star. 2 of the players there, Stockland and Paulson, both heading to the University of Maryland. Play their college basketball. Of course, a lot of local fans here tonight to see some of the Maryland talent that'll be on the floor, along with a couple of kids going to Georgetown and George Mason. A lot of talent staying local, which is great to see.
Well, we just saw Terrell Stoglin drive the lane and shoot a little teardrop, and 29 points per game as a point guard. I mean, he's going to get a lot of those shots with his penetrating skills.
Look at the Capital All-Star lineup. Markel Starks, as we mentioned in the open, heading to Georgetown. Playing for John Thompson III. And look at Stoglin at 6'1", just 180 pounds, but he is a kid that can score. Don't let the smaller frame fool you.
I think one of the things that also has changed, boy, that's a nice looking shot there, but one of the things that's changed too is the body types that you see from these kids. They're very well put together. Spent some time in the weight room.
The defense on that play as Starks takes it in for the uncontested lay-in. U.S. All-Stars out to a 5-2 early lead. The first couple of minutes. Behind the back, fancy dribble by Tranham, who loses control. Take a look at the coaches for tonight's game. U.S. All-Star head coach Grant Rice, and check out his overall record, Chris. 231-51, 4 Nevada State championships for Bishop Gorman in Las Vegas. There's Lou Wilson from Riverdale Baptist, 10 years on the job this past season. Riverdale Baptist 26-6, won the NACA national title. Certainly congratulations to him and his program over at Riverdale Baptist.
He's a good man, and we had a chance to visit before the game, and he's excited to be a part of this, as is Grant Rice. He brought his team from Vegas to play in a tournament at Good Counsel a couple years ago. Loved the area.
Well, right away, Chris, neither team afraid to try to get the ball to the tin. Both taking it rather strong to the glass.
Oh, well, you've already got points scored by the point guards, 4 by Starks. Oh, nice take by the big man. And Mackay in there battling.
You see, too, over the years, more and more big men not afraid to put the ball on the floor. Aldridge inside for the easily jam.
You got to keep your head up in a game like this, because if the point guards are willing to play pitch ahead, it's going to be a layup drill. Clearly, defense was optional, and that's usually one of the things you see the local team concentrate on a little bit more, because just because of demographics, they don't really usually have quite the talent level, so they got to dig a little deeper, particularly on the defensive end.
Out in front, and nice pass by the big man. Pinkston tossing it back to Mackay for the throwdown. As I look over Pinkston's stats for the year, 25 points, 13 rebounds. They don't list assists. Well, the big man gets a lot of those during the regular season.
Well, he's a man among boys out here, that body type. I mean, he's got a terrific body for block-to-block play.
Markel Starks high off the glass, knocking it down.
Quick 6 for Markel.
Ian Miller short on the lay-in. Shanahan going to give it up, and that's a good decision for the throwdown by Josh Hairston. Hairston heading to Duke next year. He was the Maryland Gatorade Player of the Year.
He is committed to Duke early on, and quite a package. He's so excited to be headed to Durham, as he should be, as you would be, Brett.
Of course, coming off a pretty great season where the Blue Devils, I'm sure as a high school senior, watching the team that you will be playing for the following year. Coach K and the storied tradition there, I'm sure it's pretty exciting to watch March Madness when Duke takes a title.
Well, no question about it. We saw a great crossover move by Traynham, but he couldn't finish the play. Stoglin, bang.
Good three-pointer by Stoglin. Averages almost 30 points a game in his senior season at Santa Rita High School in Arizona. There's Hairston looking to match his three.
Doesn't look to be his shot, does it, just yet?
Inside Mackay with the easy dunk.
He's got that shot down, I'd say.
That's what they call the high percentage shot, Chris. One that I've never taken in my life.
I only aspire.
Maybe that's why my percentage is so low.
Guys already with smiles on their faces, and not all these guys are in the best shape when they come into this game. They've been living on the banquet circuit a little bit. They got to play themselves into it a little bit as this game goes on.
Traynham is tough to stop. Just 5'10", and he is quick as he weaves his way through the defense for the Capital All-Stars. The Capital All-Stars with a 2-point lead as we are now 5 minutes into the game. Another dribble drive by the big man, and really Javon Pinkston is showing a lot of his game here. He's not just inside, he also has a little bit of outside and a dribble drive.
Yeah, one of those thick guys with great feet.
Starks buries the three.
He's a good 4 feet behind that three-point line.
I'm not sure if I've heard a whistle yet, Chris.
You're not supposed to. That means these guys are doing their job. Oh, my goodness.
Wow. Pinkston, how far out was that? He was by the bench.
What a shot. I'm sure the scouting report had nothing in it about that kind of range.
Tranham is dazzling with the dribble and a great vision inside for the easy lane.
Tranham sharing and making friends amongst all his teammates.
Kingston thought he could get to the rim that time, and no sir on the block. Josh Hairston heading to Duke, played his high school ball at Montrose Christian, and early on with one of those spectacular dunks for the Capital All-Stars, and they have the 2-point lead.
Very best
game, it was the Capital All-Stars getting the best of the U.S. All-Stars. Derek Thomas, who went on to play at Drexel, had 16 points, and Bobo Jones. Chris, this was your guy last year.
He lit this place up. Exciting player, and he was just fantastic in this game. Once again, a guards game, but the story was Muftau Yaru. Came in from Montrose Christian, ended up at Villanova this year, and after some injury issues early in the season, actually illness issues early in the season, came back and had a pretty strong freshman campaign, but he had 20 points and 8 rebounds and was terrific.
A 31-point win last year for the Capital All-Stars. They've won 2 of the past 3 of these games. The Capital All-Stars dominated in the paint last year, 80-35. Very good inside. And really, I thought last year, Chris, a lot more intensity. They really came out the opening tip and just, established it early.
Well, I think that was the key. What happened in the first 5 or 6 minutes of that game dictated what happened throughout the night. And 31 points, I think, qualifies as a thrashing by any measure.
The U.S. All-Stars hold the all-time advantage. The Capital All-Stars. And sometimes in this kind of game, in an all-star setting, it can be as much about attitude and desire as it can be about talent, because as we mentioned, you're not going to see a ton of defense, but if one team comes out with a little more desire, could make a difference.
That's why, too, it's always interesting to me to see the uncommitted guys play in this, because generally they're playing for something more than some of the other fellas are who already have a college chosen and scholarship signed.
Just a couple of undecideds here in this game. And this week is the late signing period, and already we saw Kentucky grab a couple of big-time recruits there right away. And I guess no surprise when you lose 5 going off to the NBA draft, the kind of freshman class they had now gone, a lot of vacant spots, a lot of playing time there.
Well, I think that was to be expected. I think there were more recruits this year than ever. Top line 2010 recruits that were uncommitted, and they were holding to that thought process pending what happened in Kentucky and who was leaving. And of course, you lose 5 guys, you got some spots to fill, and you're seeing it happen.
The other thing that jumps out, when you look at these rosters, we have a lot of ACC flavor, especially the U.S. All-Stars. We've talked about the 3 that are going to Maryland, NC State, Wake Forest, Virginia Tech, Florida State, all represented in this game. Boy, the ACC, which many thought maybe a down conference, you see a lot of talent coming right back in there this upcoming season. Well,
every conference has to regenerate, and with the number of kids who leave early and go, it's across the board where conferences have to bring in the young talent and hone it. That's a terrific basket.
That is a great look and not an easy basket either. But the pass by Dante Thomas, great vision underneath.
They get the screen and roll basically is the play of choice in this game. And Atkins nailing a long 3. Anytime the defender goes underneath that high screen, point guard's going to step back and take a shot.
Inside, and another basket by McCrory. He's headed to Seton Hall. Forward, having 17 points, 13 rebounds in his senior year for the Kiva School. Jumper by Eddie is knocked down.
He is headed to Virginia Tech, and nice looking player. He was my shooting partner in our contest yesterday, and I wish he'd shot that well yesterday. Of course, I'm probably thinking the same thing about me. He's got a smooth stroke.
We saw last year Stocky with a smooth stroke, winning the some media competition. It was a little tougher this year, a little different format. We'll talk about that. And coming up a little bit later is the Capital All-Stars have jumped out to a 5-point advantage as we're about midway through the first half here at the 37th Annual Capital All-Star Classic. Welcome back. A flashback to 2003, and all that needs to be said is LeBron James.
Yeah, I think we've all gotten used to seeing that move.
He had 34 points. Chris Paul had 18 points in the game. Shannon Brown, Chris Humphries also. We talk about a lot of players that went on to play in the NBA. Of course, LeBron James and his Cleveland Cavaliers this year, Chris. A lot of experts believe they'll be playing in the NBA Finals this year.
I would think they're headed that way. There's some pressure on that team to perform, no question about it.
Great from high school. Great to the NBA, first-round pick, Cleveland Cavaliers that year back in 2003. And it almost seems like yesterday, and in many ways it was almost yesteryear. When you think 7 years ago.
It's hard to believe, isn't it? I mean, and he looked like such a young man in that. Of course, he was in that video that we just saw. And now just the biggest, strongest, fastest guy on the planet, basically. And I mean, plays hard on every single possession, it seems like.
Coming out of the break, the U.S. All-Stars with a couple baskets here. Grant Rice in that break. As a coach in one of these games, how do you go into this kind of all-star event, Chris, as a coach? I know you want to get all your guys to play, but also you want your guys to leave with a good taste of a win.
Well, I think the first half is important in terms of the democracy of the whole thing. You let everybody have a crack at it in equal amounts. And then as the second half goes on, you have to sort of decide what's working for you and who's working for you. And because ultimately, particularly if the game's close, the bottom line is you're going to remember a win a lot better and a lot more than you will remember the loss. All these guys came out here to win.
Brandon Young with the steal, a fancy pass for the easy layup. The Capital All-Stars have been able to get up and down the floor pretty well in this one.
Now that's got to be the game plan. They've got some good guards. They've got some athletic ability really across the line. They've gotten a number of easy opportunities in this game. Well, Young just hitting that 17-footer after delivering the pass on the last possession.
The guard out of Friendship Collegiate Academy. Averaged 14 points and almost 10 assists a game. But it's a double-double, even in high school. Very impressive.
It is, when you look at the numbers sometimes, you always have to remind yourself, these kids are playing 32-minute high school games. So you're seeing a guy get 28, 29 points in a 32-minute game. That is getting it done offensively.
But Dante Thomas for the Capital All-Stars now only a few baskets. And he's one of the kids undecided. Max Prep, CBS Sports Online, has him rated as the 81st best high school player out there, and obviously still one of the better players on the board that are undecided here in the late signing period.
Well, you got a lot of guys with some decisions to make, and no doubt, too, some of them will have some issues that, they have to make sure they're getting it done in the classroom, too. Great pass by Keyshawn Howard and an easy finish by Atkins.
Eric Atkins, who's the Baltimore Catholic League Player of the Year out of Mount St. Joe. He'll play his college ball at Notre Dame. There's Thomas again. Thomas, boy, their high school at Ballou, we had a great season, averaged 24 points for Ballou. All-time leading scorer there in high school. First team All-Metro as well.
Ryan Harrell with a sweet little teardrop there on the drive. You see that's just a shot that so many of these guys have perfected as they attack bigger bodies in the lane. Lindsay can make this shot.
Shot back rim. US All-Stars looking to run, and loose ball midcourt. US All-Stars come up with it. And turnover right back. That's one stat, too. The turnover stat. You may have a few in this game.
Well, nobody will remember those. I mean, basically, you're going out there to get yours and to try and win a basketball game.
McCrory with the throwdown dunk.
Barnes Celtics
see. Boy, getting up off the canvas, and oh, he's in good position for the easy basket. 43-36, Capital All-Star.
Nobody's worried about finance.
And yesterday, the slam dunk competition held over at Walter Reed. With the young fellas showing off their skills. It is, Chris, one of the more exciting parts of this couple of days that they get to spend here in Washington, D.C.
Well, and a guy like Ryan Harrow, who we saw dunk first there, you know, you always get more points if you're a 6-footer doing this than if you were 6'6" or 6'8". Boy, that is a terrific throwdown right there.
Victor Oladipo was your slam dunk champion for 2010. And really what amazes me is the creativity.
Yeah.
You know, a dunk is a dunk, but over the last few years, well, you know, the collegiate level and high school level, I've seen some very creative dunks.
Well, these guys work on it now. You know, I mean, it's important that you got to represent if you're going to be out in that contest. That's for sure. But Pinkston just a load down there, block to block.
6'8", 235. Donald's All-American. He's heading to Villanova next year. Stockton 3, and he buries it.
Well, that's just a stop and pop right on Trainum.
When you think about what the Maryland Terrapins losing from their senior class, and certainly Gravis Vasquez jumps to mind, ACC Player of the Year. Maryland will be looking for scoring, and they may find it there at number 3.
Well, you know, Gravis had such a magnificent senior season, and he was such a dominant force and personality. But you know, they'll miss a guy like Eric Hayes almost as much. A dead-eye three-point shooter, expanded defense, took a lot of pressure off of Gravis. And it's important to get a guy like Stoglin and Keyshawn Howard, these guys be able to contribute right away.
Another thing that Gary Williams always looks for is the winners, and Stoglin is just that. Led his team to a state championship this year, and when you look back at what he's been able to do, team most valuable player for all 4 years of his high school career. Yeah,
he has played at a high level, and yet even with that said, these guys have so much to learn about competing on a level like the ACC.
Ian Miller fouled for the pass from Stoglin. Miller, another one of those ACC players. He'll play at Florida State next year.
Well, Miller and Mackay just had a great give and go on that last possession, and Miller just adds to the athleticism quotient that Leonard Hamilton has down at Florida State.
I love this. At 6'2", Ian Miller lists his favorite player. Get this, is Bugsy Bogues.
Yeah. You know, it's funny.
School.
I was just going to say, it's amazing to me that a guy this young, a lot of these guys, you'd have to tell them who Muggsy was.
Yes.
How long has Muggsy now been out of
at least a
public
decade.
eye? At least. Right? At least.
Outside, and that is a bank shot, but Jerian Grant knocks it down. Grant from DeBatha, 6'4" forward.
Credit Grant, too. He ran back down the court and never smiled.
I don't think he's fault. Yeah. It counts just the same. Capital All-Stars, but 2-point lead here over the U.S. All-Stars.
Guy working hard for a rebound here. Paulson headed to Maryland as well. Pump fake and pick out whichever guy in a white jersey you want to call that foul on.
They called it on all 3.
The Hawk here, a native of Iceland. Yet I had a chance to visit with him yesterday. Sure doesn't. Sure doesn't talk like I would have expected him to talk. He's been in the States a while. This kid, prepped down at Florida, played in a good program with good players. And as a result, his numbers were 10.6 rebounds, which doesn't sound great, but again, playing with great players.
Montverde Academy ranked 8th in the final poll in the USA Today. A great high school program. When you look at those stats, too, you talk about Paulson, 10 points, 8 rebounds. But again, when you're on a team, other great high school players, nationally ranked players, 10 points a game can still be pretty solid.
Well, and there were a number of games he didn't even start. Yet, you know, he was being recruited by an awful lot of folks before he decided to go to Maryland. And you know, if your talent is such, people will find you. I mean, they found Scottie Pippen and Dennis Rodman when they were playing at NAIA schools. And, it's hard to deny that kind of ability.
on the fast break. Pulls it out. He's going to pull up for three. A little off balance, in and out. Good hustle by Starks. Whoa. Starks gets it back, rewarded. Great rebound. No good. Also very fundamentally sound. I noticed that during the shoot-around in the All-Star game that we saw over at Walter Reed.
Well, that's some athleticism here on the alley-oop, and two guys getting up after it. Mackay gets buried on this alley-oop.
When you talk about defending the home floor, some great defense at the rim. The Capital All-Stars holding to a three-point advantage of American University, where the Capital All-Stars have a three-point lead over the U.S. All-Stars with just under 4 minutes to play here in the first half. The prelim to this game is the Suburban All-Stars taking on the District All-Stars, and it was the District All-Stars with a 109-100 win.
Clearly a defense optional affair, and you know, there were a lot of kids in that game. That traditionally has been called the scholarship game, where so many of them are uncommitted and basically trying to play for opportunity.
7 players for the District All-Stars scoring in double figures in that contest. And the way this one is going, I have a feeling we're on pace to be well over 100 points. Markel Starks, good lead, but the finish no good by Ryan Harrow. Play getting a little sloppy here. As you mentioned, maybe conditioning could be a part as these teams run up and down the court. There is not a lot of breaks.
Well, in addition to obviously these guys being on the banquet circuit, you get these guys also springtime. A lot of them will have to concentrate, sort of refocus on the academic portion of what they do. You have to remember these guys are seniors. They're headed for graduation. And it's not always as simple as it sounds, just to finish up.
A great lead off the glass for the throwdown.
A training for Oladipo.
He's taken inside, Sean Howard.
Sean kind of got the old guy's game, throwback game.
You can tell, too, Trainham enjoying the assist as much as the basket. Certainly could have had an easy lay-in, but went for the spectacular play.
Trainham, another one of those guys, at this point in time, uncommitted. He's a little on the smallish side, but he can distribute. He clearly knows what he's doing as a point guard.
Point guard played at Wise High School, averaged 23 points and 10 assists. Double-double, 5'10", point guard. He finished his high school career with school records in assists, scoring average, and free throws. First team All-Metro. And it would not surprise you, Chris, his favorite athlete, Chris Paul. I see a little bit of that in him.
Absolutely. Well, that's the guy, that's the kind of fellow you'd say, think Muggsy Bogues. But Chris Paul, I mean, it's a pretty good role model to have.
Well, 23 points, 10 assists, he can score as well as Dishon. Tough inside play. That is just a big fella. Lubick getting it done, 6'8", 235. And he's heading to Georgetown, where John Thompson III has got to love seeing the big physical play inside.
Well, he is no stranger to contact, and he clearly has been taught very well, you know, how to use that body block to block. Guys bounce off of him.
You may be surprised at 6'8", 235. Lubick enjoys singing and recording music.
I have to hear that, I think.
The big soft. Inside, and his quickness just got him to the rim for the easy bucket. How did that one go down?
Up, under, reverse, English. Holy cow. That had a little bit of everything on it.
Howard played at Oak Hill Academy. As we mentioned, he'll be going to Maryland in College Park. He'll be playing for Gary Williams. 3 Maryland recruits here in this game. Stoglin, Paulson, and Howard, and all 3 have very much impressed as a U.S. All-Stars hold a 3-point lead, 58-55. Jumper is no good. Capital All-Stars with the rebound. The shot, that is no good inside, and the easy flush by Josh Hairston, the third-team parade All-American, with 6 points here in the first half. The U.S. All-Star, 1-point lead. Under a minute left here in the first half. To add to it, the U.S. All-Stars, the red unis, and a long three by Harrow. Point guard heading to NC State next year. Oh, some fancy dribbling by Graham, and what a follow! Victor Oladipo with a thunderous one-handed throwdown. For the Capital All-Stars, impressing here down the stretch and reclaiming the lead, 61-59. U.S. All-Stars will play for the final shot here in the first half. Curro outside, dribbles, loses control, goes down. The U.S. All-Stars won't get a shot off as the Capital All-Stars will go into the break with a 2-point lead at 61-59. Javon Pinkston for the U.S. All-Stars, leading the way, 12 points, 2 rebounds, 5 for 10 from the field. The forward heading to Villanova next year, the big fella at 6'8", 235. Pinkston has been dominating in the first half. But it is the Capital All-Stars with a 2-point lead. And we send it over courtside to Chris Knoche.
Thanks, Brent. And, Coach, that's a pretty good first half for an All-Star game, 61-59.
You know, really good game, competitive game, pretty much even talent out there, and they're both playing pretty hard, so we're happy about that.
It looked like you gave you guys pretty even amounts of playing time. Is that what we're going to have in the second half?
Yeah, we'll do another rotation of 5, and then probably the last 10 minutes, you know, if it's a close game, we'll try to win the game.
Got a little fire and brimstone ready for these guys at halftime?
You know, I think we'll save that for next year. I'm sure they're going to get that when they get to their universities and colleges, so we'll give them a congratulations on a good half, but we're going to try to win the second half.
Hey, good luck, Coach.
Thanks a lot.
Back to you, Brent.
Guys, thank you very much. And if the first half is any indication of what to expect here in the second half, it is going to be a good one and should go right down to the wire. The Capital All-Stars with a 2-point lead, 61-59. Halftime festivities coming up right after this.
At some point, a car ceases to be just a car and becomes an old friend. And no one cares for your friend like your local AMCO guys. Our technicians are experts in everything from tune-ups to transmissions. So if your air conditioning has lost its cool, bring your old friend into AMCO. People who know, call 1-800-GO-AMCO.
Stay cool with a free AC Quick Check, now with any AC service, and save on any recharge. Limitations apply. See participating center for details.
AA MCO.